Have you ever wondered how long it takes water to flow from one block to another? No? Well, I did. So I downloaded Panda's tick speed mod, created a counter which counts up every tick in the sidebar, set the random tick speed to 0, and made a funky contraption to discover the different speeds at which water flows. The things I found were very surprising. In our first example, we start by retracting the piston at 780 ticks. The piston takes 3 game ticks to retract. At 783 ticks, the piston is fully retracted. 1 tick later, the water flows into the next block. This would imply that the water flows at a rate of 1 block every game tick. In our second example, I start by retracting the piston at 794 ticks, meaning that by 797 ticks, the piston is fully retracted. Given the last example, we'd expect the water to appear in the next tick, and we would be wrong. In fact, in this case, the water takes 2 game ticks to flow into the available block. Weird, huh? Well, let's look at another example. In our third example, I start retracting the piston at 826 ticks. This means by 829 ticks, the piston will be fully retracted. Wait, what? The water travels through the piston arm. Oh, of course. This is that really weird quirk that exists among regular pistons. The block directly in front of the piston base becomes air instantaneously after it is unpowered. If we take this into account for examples 1 and 2, in example 1, the water took 4 ticks to flow into the airspace. In example 2, the water took 5 ticks to flow into the airspace, and in example 3, the water took 3 ticks to flow into the airspace. Now, let's look at example 4. We start retracting the piston at 934 ticks. The water flows into the airspace at 935 ticks. So in example 4, the water took 1 tick to flow into the airspace. Now, let's take one final example. We start retracting the piston at 969 ticks. The water flows into the airspace at 971 ticks. So in example 5, the water took 2 ticks to flow into the airspace. So let's take a look at our examples again. In example 4, the water took 1 tick to flow into the airspace. In example 5, the water took 2 ticks to flow into the airspace. In example 3, the water took 3 ticks to flow into the airspace. In example 1, the water took 4 ticks to flow into the airspace. And finally, in example 2, the water took 5 ticks to flow into the airspace. From this data, we can establish that water takes between 1 and 5 ticks to flow from one block to the next. But what does the game code say about this? According to the game code, water should take 5 ticks to flow from one block to another. However, random ticks can speed up this process. Now, at the beginning of the video, I told you that we set the random tick speed to 0. I did this specifically to remove the random ticks during our tests. So this looks like either a bug in the water flow code or just a client-side visual glitch. So which one is it? Well, to find out, I made a slight modification to the system. Firstly, I set up an armor stand underneath the water. Then we use the execute detect command to stop the timer when the water flows into the block. The timer is then reset and started when the lever is flicked off. And what do we find from these new tests? The water flows into the piston between 1 and 5 ticks into the timing process. However, the timer continues to count, meaning that it is just client-side water. The clock stops at 8 ticks every time. This goes to show that the initial water flow at 3 ticks is a client-side visual glitch. Ultimately, I would hypothesize that the water waits for 3 ticks for the piston to stop retracting, and then waits another 5 ticks before flowing into the block. However, for some reason, the client thinks the water should flow in sooner, and since the client is the thing that deals with rendering, it renders it such that it looks like the water flows in sooner. So I guess that's a bug to put on Mojira. So this is a part of a Technical Minecraft research series for the Technical Minecraft Wikia. We already have the Minecraft Wiki, but that's mainly for average Minecraft players who just want to learn about the game. The Technical Minecraft Wiki is being designed specifically for those advanced Minecraft players who want to know all the technical details of the game. We're thinking about injecting real game code into the wiki as well, which means it should be a great platform to learn how the Minecraft code works, and to theorycraft exploits as a community. It is also a great place to make a library of all the properties of all the different mobs and blocks in the game. The wiki is only just starting up, so feel free to contribute to the wiki with your knowledge. And as always, thanks for watching.